Hello, I'm Barbara Lapani, the President of the Blue Mountains Creative Arts Network, and we're delighted to be working with Janelle Randall Court on a project that she brought to us as an idea. And then we went to Wentworth Health as part of their grant scheme to fund recovery from the bushfires. And we're very grateful for their support that's enabling us to roll out this project. Now, Janelle, what made you think about working on waste through art as part of the community recovery and well-being?
I guess what came out of, satisfying the funding really, and as artists, we, for the most part, rely on that sort of support to get projects up and running, particularly for community. That's, having that support is crucial sometimes. And the funding was to bring about recovery and supporting community after the 2019-20 bushfires. And as we know, our broader community here in the Blue Mountains was so heavily impacted by the fires that we still carry some of that anxiety, and we're still recovering, financially or emotionally, So this project is about supporting the broader Blue Mountains community, and what better way to bring people together to help on that journey of recovery than through art. And we've also got the pleasure of having Samara Kendall, who is a brilliant print artist, and she'll also be facilitating some of the workshops, and having her on board is just absolutely wonderful, because what she'll bring to the project as well. But she's said a wonderful phrase, that art heals.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's how I heal through my artwork as well. Telling a story and conveying a message that, I might not be able to articulate, but I can say something in my artwork.
Thank you.
Well, here we are in Northern for Reimagine, and we've got some very special guests here today. One of our special guests is Matilda. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Are you a local? Are you from the mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're very familiar with the local area?
Not really, Wilson.
Menikatula. Okay. And you heard about the Reimagine workshops from Mum? Did Mum find out about the workshops? Yeah. And did that sort of pique an interest with you because it was about waste and art and craft?
I like just making things out of rubbish.
Yeah. And how much stuff how often do you do that at home? Do you
Not
create
very
stuff?
often. Because somebody always says I have to throw it out when I get home.
Okay. And is that easy for you or hard for you? Do you feel like you can kind of just keep making things because it hasn't cost you a lot of money? And so, you're happy to just get rid of stuff and then make more? Yeah. That's a kind of good way to look at it, isn't it? So when you came here and I discussed the fact that the project is about looking at what happened here with the fires in the Blue Mountains, and also bringing people together. Do you think this is a really good idea, bringing young people and kids together to hang out and yarn and make things?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Good. And what about the materials you've used? These are your incredible, what would you call them, sculptures?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Would you like to sort of explain to Brad what you've made here?
Well, first I just found those wooden blocks, and I started making a staircase. Then I put it past those two, and then I colored the staircase to match the colors, and then switched up to make a pattern.
It's all connected, is it?
Yeah.
And this central little figure here, the beautiful duck with the high heels. Do you want to explain how you put that all together?
Well, I started making this necklace thing out of feathers and polycarbonate.
Beautiful.
And then I just put it side to dry.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found a rubber dog, started decorating it with high heels.
Of course.
A handbag that's here.
I've just got a handbag.
And
She's very clever.
And then put the necklace on her to
Mhm.
make it look like feathers or pancake. Yeah. And then I thought making it on a dot.
Yes.
So
And you've used lots of different materials, haven't you? So how have we put the stairs together? We've just used a bit of PVA glue,
yeah, and
Yep.
wooden blocks.
wooden blocks. So paint, you've used some paint, it really paints.
Just old toys, paints, books, feathers, quarter cups, cardboard.
Yep. And do you know where I got all that stuff from?
The tip.
From the tip. And people giving me stuff that would otherwise go into the bin, hey, and sent to landfill. So what's the message, do you think, if you were to look down the camera and say to other kids, come along to the next workshop because this is really cool? Have you got like a message about if we don't look after waste at home, in our national parks, in our school grounds, what kind of impact might all this sort of rubbish have on our environment? And
Well, animals could think it's good and choke on it,
yeah.
and then lots of species would die out.
Yeah. So it sounds like we've got a bit of a responsibility, hey, to look after the place and look after our home and stuff. But we can have fun too with it, hey.
But if I try to pick this up, it would break straight away.
Yeah, so we might have to sort of nurse it very carefully on your way home. But you know what? Thank you for coming today. It's been a pleasure having you and great talking to you about rubbish and waste and being creative. So thanks for coming. Thank you. See ya. See you next time.
Okay, so as you can see here at the Reimagine workshops, we supply bits and pieces of everything. So I've collected heaps of, waste from home myself. And again, I, access the Katoomba reuse shed and Blackson reuse shed and collect all these little bits and pieces. But, the fantastic thing about having the grant and running the programs means that we get help with, all the other technical stuff, the paintbrushes and the bits and pieces that we need to put these beautiful works together. I want to take you around the group and just have a look at some of these incredible works. Now, not everybody wants to be on camera, but I'm sure they're happy to show us their works. And you can see here that, we're applying different materials, some softer kind of materials. We're putting them together with glue, or we might be stapling, nailing. But have a look at this stuff. Look at this wire work, isn't it incredible? And all these little bits and pieces collected from, the tip. That all these pieces could otherwise end up in landfill. So how incredible. And this gorgeous piece over here. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if there's something we can do, because I'd love you to secure it before you go.
Oh, I've got stuff at home.
You've got stuff at home, you can put that together. Good. Has anyone got a theme? Is there something somebody else wants to say about their work? Maybe what it's meant to you in terms of the fires, renewal maybe? Has it got that story, or is it something completely different today? This one's extra special. Have a look at these leaves, the size of these young leaves. This is from a tree in Mount Victoria, and I've always been fascinated. I'm going to have to get keyed out and find out what eucalypt it is. Mm-hmm. But these incredibly large leaves, and I've kept them for quite a while, so it's lovely for you to use them. Yeah. It's just beautiful. Yeah. And I love the thing that, participants sometimes say, oh, look, I'm not an artist, I haven't got a clue, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not really good at it, and then they end up creating stuff like this. So that's the beauty of hanging out together and just playing, really, just enjoying each other's company and having fun. Hello, welcome back to the Reimagine Waste to Art workshops. We're here at the Game Gang Gallery in beautiful Lithgow today for the workshop, and I'm meeting some wonderful locals, very talented people. We've almost come to the end of the workshop today, so I'd like to take some time to actually have a yarn with the artists and ask them about your inspiration for your works. Now, this is Tim. Welcome, Tim. Lovely to have you. Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
No worries.
Well, as you know, we started off talking about fire recovery, this project coming out of a grant that was about bringing people back together, community back together after the fires. And obviously, I've used my passion talking about waste and rubbish, and it's something that we can all recognise, we're all looking at nowadays a bit more, taking seriously. So we've used lots of bits of rubbish and waste and creating some beautiful pieces. Can I ask you about your inspiration, and are you using any rubbish or waste or bits and pieces in your work?
Yes, all of these bits and pieces here are waste, so I probably would have thrown them in the bin. Okay. Or possibly burnt them.
Mm-hmm. And what is it, plywood?
Yeah, this is plywood. Yeah. These are like, these are offcuts for the work I'm doing, which is creating kind of like three-dimensional layered pieces out of plywood, which give three dimension and depth.
Yeah, I've seen some of your work. Incredible.
It's very exciting to produce, and but I don't know. I'm from this family that just like absolutely hates waste. My father was quite crazy about it. I don't know. Maybe it could be a Welsh thing or Irish thing. I don't know, but.
That generation, we were talking about it before, weren't we? Sort of, the old school kind of reusing soaps and things like that. I can imagine that's where that came from,
Exactly. And, just, improvising, using whatever you could. And, that thing about going to country tips and, all that was fantastic.
Yeah, lots of stories about tip visits amongst the group today.
So consequently, I've got this thing where, I find it difficult just to throw things out because I think, that'll be useful one day.
Yeah.
This could be a problem. I hope my wife isn't watching.
Cut.
Order.
We're called order.
But no, so essentially the idea I had was about not just regeneration of the landscape and things, but kind of regeneration of your thinking and your psyche and, what that is all made up of. So essentially this idea is from a little quick sketch I did of kind of like what would be this, a brain scan, like a cross-section of the brain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I've kind of like found some shapes that, roughly make up that idea, and then I'm then pasting on all of my successful and unsuccessful, my successful and unsuccessful cryptic crosswords that I've completed over the last few months, which is just something I do every day, and I think it's, I think it is a kind of a regenerative thing as well, that you're forced to like think about things that you would never really think about, and like quite often I'll write a little note, a word that I've never heard about. Mm-hmm. So when I finish a crossword or give up, then I'll go off and do some Google on that word.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's kind of always, it's kind of like expanding your
refreshing,
knowledge.
rebooting.
Yeah. And I did a lot of it, around the fire times and afterwards, and I think it was a really good thing to do, just sort of not really worrying about other things, just like concentrating on words or ideas or whatever.
So your art became important in those times, and like what, through COVID as well.
Yeah.
You know, being sort of stuck at home and stuff. Were you finding that you were becoming more creative and creating maybe even different work than you usually do? Were you sort of steered in another direction with your work, or?
Well, I was actually lucky enough because I try to run my art business sort of professionally, so to speak, with accounts and ingoings and outgoings and invoices and all that sort of thing. So I am a business. So I would get a grant for bushfire recovery.
Right, yep.
So I did actually buy some really interesting tools, and a lot of it was like equipment and tools, which I was interested in. I'd been thinking about it for a long time, but never really had the money. So all of a sudden I got the money, went out and got all this amazing gear, and have been,
Excellent.
beavering away on it ever since.
Unreal.
Yeah, so thank you to whoever thought about that great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think, these projects are important? Like, after what we've been through as a, extended Blue Mountains community, this sort of coming together again in a creative space, do you think that's important? Is it something you as an artist would like to see more of, or maybe you could see yourself facilitating something like this? Do you feel, I know the fires are sort of a bit of a distant memory for some people, because then we've had COVID and we're sort of trying to move on and whatever. But do you think it's helpful and healing for community?
I think it's a big. It's not. Again, it's not just the physical damage, which is awful, but the mental damage to people, and trying to repair. I think there's been a lot of fear going around, and you get onto a train, and I was on a train the other day, and someone coughed, and it was like, oh, I won't say what they said, but there was like,
I can imagine.
So there's this barriers to the community, and I think it would be a worthwhile thing getting some more.
More art.
More
art projects.
And kind of, I don't know if it's like, not really, our president, Barbara, is committed Buddhist, and I'm not very spiritually religious in that way, but just listening to her and some of the thoughts, I think, they really do apply to this sort of thing, that it's not the end product, it's, the journey. And
it's the journey through the work.
Yeah, and
beautiful.
And creating work that, you like, time can just, you think it's 5 minutes, it's 45
that's kind of how
minutes.
It's gone today,
exactly, that's how it's gone today. It's like, it feels to a degree that, we're only been here for half an hour.
Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
And thanks for being part of it. And
My pleasure, Janelle.
I hope that you end up, however this evolves, it could even change from, because we know as artists that sometimes we have the idea, the concept, but then it changes over time, and we create something completely different. So thank you, lovely to meet you.
You too,
see you at the next workshop, hopefully.
Brilliant. Thank you. See ya.